Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Dark Matter Season 2, Episode 2, Kill Them All. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of Dark Matter, so I'll have to give a spoiler warning for all of Dark Matter up to Season 2, Episode 2. If you haven't seen up to this point, you may not want to watch this video, otherwise some things may be spoiled for you. So first off, I have to announce that I will be reviewing episodes of Dark Matter weekly. Last week I stated I wouldn't be able to because Vikings was starting, which I wanted to review, but I found out that information is incorrect and Vikings won't likely return until later on in the year, which means I will have time to review Dark Matter. So I'm in it for the long haul and will review each episode of Season 2 as it's revealed. So getting into episode 2, this episode was brilliant and may in fact be my favorite episode of the entire series. It definitely got me convinced that season 2 is going to be much better than season 1, and it has me feeling great about the show overall. So last week I expressed my worries that they may spend all season in this prison and how that could get really old after a while, as it seems like the previous episode was establishing the prison, but it seems those fears were completely unwarranted, as in the very next episode they break out of the prison. I was expecting them to spend at least 4 or 5 episodes in the prison, but I'm completely okay with them breaking out this early, and now realize that what I thought was establishing the prison was actually establishing the new characters, who it looks like will remain as main characters through the remainder of the season. As with 1 dead and 6 in stasis, it seems like they are reshaping who the main cast of characters is, as I think the characters of Nyx and Arex will be here to stay as main characters, and I think that's a brilliant idea, as it will certainly keep things fresh. So this episode doesn't spend too long dealing with the death of 1, which is fine, as they had to focus on other things, but I hope that they will get into it eventually, as it did seem a bit too much like plot convenience to have Jace Corso just pop up out of nowhere and kill him and then disappear. I'd assume that Jace killed him because he was angry about him stealing his identity, but if it's revealed that this was part of a larger conspiracy to kill the crew of the Raza, I would find that infinitely more interesting. Either way, I hope they touch on it later on and don't just leave it unresolved. I must admit, it's been a while since I've seen season 1, so I was a bit rusty on keeping up with all the political intrigue and who was on whose side. I realized it's sort of a battle between power, between corporations that are really running the show, but I'm a tad bit foggy on the specifics. Like, I recognize that the corporate agent that visited 3 in prison, she's played by the same actress that played Dr. Weir on Stargate Atlantis, but like 3, I thought she was really wanted them to take the deal, which apparently was her cover, but really she wanted them to escape, as she gave 3 the schematics to the prison, so she definitely had a reason for wanting to help them, which will come into play later on. And overall, I loved how this played out, with a lot of the different external players all wanting different things concerning the crew of the Raza. The GA obviously just wanted to frame them for the destruction of the colony, or at the very least solve the case with their confessions. And there was another element that the Warden works for that simply wanted them dead. So it was interesting seeing all these different aspects involved. And then we're introduced to another character at the start of the episode who refers to 5 as her asset, and was delighted to learn that the crew of the Raza escaped from prison, so likely she had a hand in helping them escape. Perhaps she's involved with the Dr. Weir figure, and that's why she gave 3 the schematics. I'm not sure, but I am sure that we haven't seen the last of her. However, I'm not sure how I feel about the implications that there's more to 5 than meets the eye, as I don't think I'd be really on board with them giving her a convoluted backstory, as I thought she did work really well as a street rat orphan who just stowed away. However, her level of being such a computer expert is a bit suspect, So I think there's a way they can handle her background without it coming off too hokey, but I think they need to tread carefully here. So I'm a bit anxious about them being able to pull this off without coming off as too cheesy or too soap opery, but we'll just have to wait and see. So it's kind of easy to gloss over this, but this episode actually gave us an explanation as to how the crew of the Raza lost their memories for the first time. They kind of just slipped this in here, so it was easy to miss, although it remains to be seen if this was actually what happened. But in Six's account to the GA investigator, he claimed that he was working with Five after she stowed away, and he learned, that she was good with computers, so they came up with a plan to cripple the others, but it backfired and erased everyone's memories instead. That would seem to fit, as it would explain why 5 and 6 naturally felt this connection, but I don't know. This seemed to be the biggest mystery since the premiere episode, and the fact that they would just gloss over it so quickly makes me think there may be more to it than this, but we'll see. So then there's the Warden, whom I don't think we've seen the last of, as he seems to be in on it with wanting to kill them, and I don't know, it just seems like such an interesting character that they were building up to, and I've seen this actor in other things such as 24, so yeah, I kind of suspect that we will see him again. But yeah, I gotta talk about how suspenseful this episode was, as I thought it did an absolutely amazing job of raising tension, and I'm actually so glad they simply got right down to it and didn't waste time diddly-daddling about, and made the escape plan, time dependent, so they had to move on it right away. All in all, though, I don't think they really needed Nyx to pull it off, so she kind of just got a free ride, but oh well. It was great how they used Four's situation of being transported back to his home world to face the charges we know he is not guilty of. It was pretty interesting. And we're introduced to a new badass adversary for him that really wants him dead, and it was an absolutely amazing introduction to this character that couldn't have been pulled off any better, as she barely appeared in this episode, but for the few moments that she did was absolutely amazing. So she's so much more interesting than that last guy they had, who was kind of boring. It was also great seeing the Warden's plans to kill the Raza crew being thwarted by Rex, who comes off as a very intelligent opportunist who rightfully saw the Raza crew as his best chance of breaking out of prison, and who had the resources to help them do it. So I'm excited for this character going forward. He should be a very interesting addition to the new cast of characters. So let's talk for a minute about 5 and 6 and their interrogation at the hands of a no-nonsense GA investigator. Just as I suspected, 6 finally got fed up with all the corruption, and he realized that he wasn't working for the right side and decided to change sides. It totally made sense that he would, especially after the GA investigator threatened him and then learned that they were simply railroading the Raza crew. I love what 6 says to his friend at the end, who calls the Raza crew criminals, as he retorts, they work for even bigger criminals. And I love that that's the theme of the show that they're setting up this season, that they are building this universe that I felt was significantly made so more clear than it was in season 1, that's ruled by corruption and corporations that are corrupt in such a corrupt universe. And the biggest heroes are a bunch of outlaws that work outside of this corrupt system. And I think that's an amazing theme. However, it looks like at least for a while 6 will be out of commission, but I hope they bring him back at least around mid-season, because I would like to see more of him and how he reconciles becoming a full-on criminal now. But yeah, I gotta talk about 5, who is by far the best part of this episode, and she was always been my favorite character on the show, so seeing these scenes with her were just awesome. Of course, she's always, knew where her allegiance lied, and seeing this hard-ass investigator threaten her and seeing how powerless she was made the next scene so satisfying. It was so incredibly awesome, where they tried to force her at gunpoint to order the android to divulge the files that they were looking for, and instead she was just like, kill them all. I must admit, I did see this coming when she said to the android, as a crew of the Raja, you have to follow my orders. I knew there was no way that she was going to order her to give up the files. Of course, this was kind of given away by the cutaways to Six doing some sort of sabotage. But if I read this correctly, he was disabling the restraints on the android, which came at the very last second. So I wonder what would 5 have done if the android wasn't freed at that right time, which he had just been like, I order you to just... Sorry, hold on one second. And then the restraints gets disabled, and then she's just like, oh, kill them all. But thankfully, Six's timing allowed for a more dramatic reveal, but I got to say that it was just so awesome. It was so satisfying seeing those agents who had been so ridiculously smug just get killed by the android. It was such an amazing scene. And then, of course, seeing 5 grab that big-ass gun and just blast anyone in their way. It was just so amazing. This is fan service of the best kind. As a fan of 5, I feel significantly serviced. And, of course, this was intercut with the warden and all the other smug guards who thought that they had total control, with that stunning process getting their comeuppance when 2 woke up early and just took them all out so quickly. It was totally awesome that allowed for a great escape. And then the 4's enemy, who smugly thought that she had 4 cornered, she had the tables turned on her. So yeah, the theme of the episode seemed to be smug, arrogant assholes who think they have total control, having the tables turned on them in an awesome way. And I gotta say, that's something I love to see when pulled off right. It was pulled off so amazingly well here. So my rating for Kill Them All out of 10 is a 10 the best. An amazingly well constructed story from start to finish, with some great satisfying payoffs at the end and a lot of great get up and cheer moments, and it has me feeling very optimistic about the rest of the season, although I doubt they can come up with this quality throughout the entire season. I wouldn't expect them to, but I'm feeling optimistic because they introduce a lot of great characters and set up some interesting storylines that could be explored a lot more in great detail. So I can't wait for what looks like is going to be a great season. So that's it for my review of Kill Them All. Be sure to check back here every week as I continue to review episodes of Dark Matter, all up until the end of the season. Also, be sure to check out my channel as I cover many other shows, including Game of Thrones, Star Trek, Mr. Robot, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.